Yo, what's up everybody? It's Connor from Unscripted, back with another video. In today's video, we have some CDL results and mostly drama to talk about, and as always, we're doing it off the script. So before we hop into the video, as always, don't forget to leave a like down below if you enjoy, leave a comment as well with your thoughts on what we talk about today, and subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying the content and looking for more of it in your subscriber box. I appreciate it all, it means a lot, and let's hop right into the video. So I'm back from my graduation, and I picked a good day to return because I was finally able to catch these matches live, and it was a good one with some seeding to decide today with these matches. So we kicked things off with the London Royal Ravens versus the Seattle Surge. That one really did not mean much for seeding. It was basically just who was going to be the 5th seed in Group B and who was going to be the 6th seed. London came out and they beat the Surge 3-1 to clinch the 5 seed in Group B. Then we have OpTic versus FaZe, which we're going to talk about for most of the video, so I'll skip for now. And we ended the night with the Dallas Empire versus the Minnesota Rocker with the 3 seed in Group A on the line, and Dallas was able to take that one 3-1, so they will be the 3 seed in Group A entering the major, and Minnesota will be the 4 seed. So the big news of the day, though, was of course the OpTic versus the FaZe series. There were all kinds of implications for this one in terms of the next major. Basically, if FaZe won, they were guaranteed the 2 seed. OpTic was guaranteed the 4 seed. If OpTic won, it depended how much they won by. They still could win and be the 4 seed, and they could also be the 3 seed or the 2 seed, depending how much they won by. So it was a big series for them. They needed to come out strong. As you see here, they say must win, and they did not win. It was ugly. It was horrible. You see the stats on screen. FaZe absolutely destroyed them. They smoked them in the first hardpoint. They smoked them in the search. They smoked them in the control and raid. It was bad. I saw the map set for this one. I thought right away, there's no way OpTic's going to win this. It was, how to start, it was raid hardpoint, which OpTic hasn't been good on. They usually actually veto that map. They didn't, and they got smoked. It went to a Moscow search, which is actually one of their better search maps, but it's also, FaZe has not lost on that map yet this year. So that was a tough one for OpTic. And then raid control has not been OpTic's go-to either lately. And then there's also a garrison hardpoint and a raid search if we needed those. So the map pool was not good at OpTic at all for this one, and the last 2 maps did not matter. They were destroyed. You see the stats on screen. Envoy actually had a .47 KD for the entire series, which we will talk about in a little bit, and not for good reason. On the FaZe side of things, I mean, the lowest KD in the team was a 1.34 from Simp, so that's just, they destroyed OpTic. There's no other way around it. It was just an absolute beatdown. And then after the match is really when the drama started. So we found out maybe a little bit of a reason as to why this happened. Envoy kicks things off and says, just got told the CDL host selected the wrong server in our match because of a typo in an email. 1000% not why we lost, but that is uneffing acceptable. I agree with Envoy, so like they definitely would have, the way they played, they would have lost regardless. They would have lost bad regardless. But as we're going to see here with people talking about this is a pretty unacceptable, in my opinion, letdown by the CDL. I do not think it would have affected the outcome of the match. And people saying OpTic are making excuses, I disagree with. I think they pretty much recognize, we must be better. We are not playing well, but the server issue is also not acceptable. Clay responds and says, tried to warn you in the rep chat 3 days ago, brother. Envoy says, we connect horrible to St. Louis, so I accepted fate and hope the CDL and their IT team would have made their correct decision. Doesn't help our only CDL rep has been off since Thursday. I could have done more for sure, but how fated the host got to be to pick Atlanta with Atlanta in the lobby. So I don't fully know how the host process works. I really don't. I won't pretend I do. But it does seem like a little bit of just negligence on the side of the CDL, honestly. Formal hops in. He says, absolutely. Obviously, we got smoked, but it doesn't help. We just played on Atlanta host. All of us on 33 ping. Theirs on 11. Simp says, hey, GG, man. Now you know how it feels to scrim you guys. And this was just a weird reply from Simp. This is why sometimes I see why the FaZe guys aren't like. They are really like arrogant, and they can be passive aggressive with their smack talk and just like over the top a little bit. It just gets under your skin and rubs you the wrong way. I see why Formal got annoyed. He said, I don't know what kind of tweet this was. Obviously, our host is bad for you guys and vice versa. Don't know why one team would have that in a match. Like, yeah, scrims are different. Somebody has to host scrims. You don't have to have that kind of a host in a match. And simply says, I mean, I'm sure Cinnamon will have an answer for you. GG. So, like, annoying for sure. I see why it's irritating. I don't really dislike Simp, but that's kind of aggravating. Spinna is talking about the CDL. I think he's like the head of player ops or something. So that's like I guess who they would talk to about this. But Formal frustrated, and Simp, I'm sure he got under their skin a little bit with these tweets. We've moved on with Clayster said, wait, they were on an Atlanta server. I got to delete my tweets. Excuse me. He was like shocked. Like, why would this have happened? It was like such a surprise to everybody. His tweets were referencing, he said, Dashy went, I think, 7 and 18 maybe on the hard point, and Clayster was tweeting about no XM4, him and Dashy with this little beef they've had where Dashy called Clay a C-tier player. Dashy said when the XM4 gets GA'd, some of these ARs are going to be exposed for not being that good. thinking maybe he was talking about Clay. Now Clay returning the favor here, poking some fun at Dashy. Ogre2 says, I'm confused why that happened. Ben from the flank says, seems like OpTic picked it from the set of options. And then JCap says, had to have any quad Dallas team normally plays Atlanta on St. Louis server. No shot. The league just forced them onto Atlanta. Absolutely no shot. So that's sort of what like Envoy was saying. Like, we don't really like the St. Louis server, so we just sort of had no choice. I don't know. Dashy says, same thing. Can't believe we just played a team on their quad host for a chance to make winners, all because they sent the wrong email. So still confusion. I don't know. JCap clears things up a little bit more. He says, we get the email before the week starts. I had heard that OpTic agreed to Atlanta because they hated St. Louis that much. And then I also heard that someone from OpTic asked the league about it, but didn't ask for a switch or follow-up. So I don't know what is true anymore. So basically, from what all I'm gathering, I'd say the OpTic guys should have pushed this issue harder, and they did not do enough to get this thing changed. Like, they had a say in this, and this is how they got this result. But they also sort of expected the league to know not to put them in a Atlanta host with 4 players playing from Atlanta. So sort of both guys at fault here. Like Envoy said, I could have done more for sure. That's what it seems like. He could have done more, but the league also surely could have helped some, rather than just sticking them in there and throwing them to the wolves, basically. And then, after the original dust settled, the OpTic guys did lighten up a little bit. Envoy says here, referencing that .47, can't believe I set the record for the lowest KD in a series since the start of the CDL. I was streaking in the worst way possible. So yeah, this is, I think Dylan Cod had either a .48 or a .49 earlier this year, also against FaZe. So I guess Envoy just narrowly broke that record, not the record you want to break. But, I mean, Envoy's joking about it, but his performance has not been up to par this year. He has referenced it in videos and, like, in the OpTic pre-show. He has said, he's not having the year he wants to be having. So if I was him, I would not be joking about it, because it just sort of sets himself up if they do make a roster change, which I think they should. I think you can only accept this kind of performance for so long. But whether or not they do, it's just sort of, I would not be joking about it. Now's not the time for jokes. You were supposed to be a top 3 team entering the season. You're now in the losers bracket at the major, and you're not even considered a top 6 team anymore. So if I was him, I mean, it's okay to joke, of course, and have fun. It's your profession, but at least publicly, I would not be doing this. It can look bad, and it can add fuel to the fire for haters looking for anything they can throw in the fire. They'll pull up something like this. Dashy also, I assume, joking here. He says, got finessed in broad daylight. That ref is probably dapping up Banks and the boys throwing the FaZe up right now. So I assume he's joking and, just having a good time. But like the top reply says there, like, we get it was a mistake, but y'all got absolutely destroyed. Like, there's no reason for it to be this big of a deal. It would not have made a difference. That's how most of us feel. It's probably how the OpTic guys feel too. They probably could handle it a little bit better, but I also do see their frustration with this situation and why it really should not happen in such an important match. Scump also says, Envoy says GG's, bros, gotta tip it, and Alex says, Arcides says GG's, all love, sorry that happened to y'all, GG's, my guys. And Scump says, GG's, not your fault, but golly, y'all were killing fast. That's kind of what all the FaZe guys said. At least I saw Arcides and Celium and Abizi say, sorry that happened. It's unfortunate. And, GG's. I didn't know if Sim said that or not, but the FaZe guys are like, yeah, it's kind of frustrating. Or we can see why you're frustrated. It is what it is. But I think they probably also don't want that to be an excuse. Like, they want to be recognized for their solid performance because they played phenomenal for sure. It was not just the ping that caused them to beat OpTic this bad, not even close. Octane jumps in, he just says, no way the guy loading up the Atlanta server saw FaZe in the lobby and thought to himself, yeah, this is right. So the more that people talk about it, the more it seems like it was just pure negligence from somebody in the league. There's really no other way around it. They just messed this one up, and it is what it is. Like I keep reiterating the point, it probably wouldn't have mattered, but just frustrating for players. And it's not just the OpTic guys either. Like Clayster noticed it, Sam, Octane noticed it, Ogre2 noticed it. All these people noticed it and thought there was, an obvious mistake in this type of a very important match. Now moving on from the server drama, let me just see the time. Okay, I can't see it. Forget it, doesn't matter. Arcides, he says, shout out to all the Twitter and Reddit peeps saying I suck. I flipped the switch for y'all. Haha. This was a big takeaway recently for me. Arcides has been playing phenomenal. He definitely was struggling to start stage 2. The people who were wanting him to be dropped, obviously that's just stupidity and that's just internet fans. That's the way it goes. But he really was struggling. I mean, he was not having a good start to stage 2, or to stage 3, excuse me. And he even struggled a lot in the stage 2 major too. But he has turned it around phenomenally. He played well against OpTic. He played well in the past couple of FaZe series, so he's definitely turning around and getting them clicking at the right time. Heading into the second major, I still favor Toronto, or the third major. Why do I keep saying 2? I still favor Toronto. I still think New York is right there, with their new roster. But FaZe, they are getting clicking again after, they barely beat London. They lost to New York. but they sure are streaking and they're getting hot again at the right time. So the major is going to be phenomenal. There's no doubt in my mind. There's a couple of teams, at least those 3 teams for sure, that I could legitimately see winning the major. So it's nice to have that kind of parity rather than like at the beginning of the year where you just thought FaZe would win everything. It's a legit toss-up now. So that's really awesome to see. Speaking of the major, this is the bracket. So as you see there, the 4 teams in losers round 1 will be LAG, Seattle, London, and Paris. Kind of the 4 that everybody expected to be there. Honestly, that's the way it's going to be. And then OpTic and Rocker will be waiting for the winners of those matches in the second round of losers. They get the losers bye. Ultra and Subliners, of course, get the winners buys. They were the first seeds in their groups. FaZe will take on Empire. Empire, all right, you got your winners bracket spot without Hook. Let's see how you do now. Throw them in there against FaZe, see what happens, see if they can keep up. And then Florida, they're getting really hot right now at the right time, playing some really good Call of Duty, match up with a good LA Thieves team as well. So that should be a good one. And, that's a really good series, honestly. Just thinking about it, that could really go either way. And it's just 2 teams who are getting hot and playing well, and it's good to see it. I always had high hopes for Florida. It's good to see them finally recognizing that and hopefully becoming a top team that I thought they could be entering the year. So that's the bracket, and it will kick off on Thursday, not Wednesday. So don't forget that. They changed the format a little bit, and this will now be Thursday through Sunday instead of Wednesday through Sunday. So that's going to wrap up this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like down below. Leave a comment as well with your thoughts on the server drama and whatever else went down today. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are enjoying the content and looking for more content like it in your subscriber box. So, hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you had a good day, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.